Good afternoon. Check, check. Hello, hello. It looks like I got one person in the house. Can you believe it? I finally made it on live. I drive myself probably crazier than I drive any of my viewers. Seriously, with, you know, again, just all the adjustments and let's just do our thing. Please make sure that you're still subscribed if you are subscribed, and if you're not, please consider doing so. And sound check. Um, Turn on your notification bell to ring and share a video of mine with somebody that you think might like it. How's my lighting? How's my hair? I do have my emergency hats nearby, so just let me know if I should grab one. I think I should. But not that one. How about this one? How about my AF? Because I'm all about the AF. Okay, there we go. 2 people in the house. If you can say hi and let me know if you can hear me. I think there's been a lot more shadow ban going on lately than we're used to, even. So just be forewarned, we're probably going to get cut off. Basically, this platform is pretty much owned by the oligarchs, like the ones that may or may not have had any involvement in the Kylie Rodney case. So, yeah, we can trust this platform, right? And there, is that better? And I'm not allowed to touch anything. Not to touch nothing. Okay, so this side is good. This side is kind of weird, but that's okay. We won't worry about it. As long as the lighting is okay, I can see you. Can you see me? Am I too well lit? Not well lit enough? I keep tweaking all the lighting in here. My goodness, it's stupid. I guess I'll just hire a crew, Come on. Seriously. All right. So, everything I say is simply my opinion for the sake of hoping to start a conversation, open up a discussion, learn something, be educational. All my videos are made for YouTube. It's an infotainment platform. Please hit your like button if you don't mind. Much appreciation for watching, whether you're here live or on the replay crew. It was pretty unbelievable to me yesterday when I was doing my live and I thought I was getting close to the end of my notes and realized I had 8 more pages. I was like, how did that happen? So I just kind of wrapped it up and said, well, I'll just get started with it all today, right? Kind of pick up where I left off. I just don't even know. I really don't know how to keep up with any of this crap. Sometimes I like to go from the back to the front. So maybe I should do that. Or maybe I'll just start with post-sexual. Nobody's talked about this, damn it. And I'm so sick of nobody talking about things. And then I talk about it and nobody watches my videos. And then a couple of days later, all the million channels or the people with the channels with 1 million subs are talking about it. And I'm sorry, but when you have 1 million subs, you make one video and you cha-ching, you cash in. So if you're gonna borrow an idea from me or adopt it, just please mention the name of my effing channel. I've been saying that for so long. I tried to quit saying it for a while because, it's like pissing into the wind. It's a free-for-all. Nobody gives a flying F except us, right? We care. So what is this post-sexual? How many of you have heard that in reference to El Presidente? And I'm sorry, is there no such thing as Viagra? Because he's an addict and there ain't no way he's too busy with golf and posting things to not have any interest in what Jeffrey got in so much trouble for. What? Huh? Did someone say Jeffrey? Who's that? You guys are still talking about him? Oh my God. Did you not know there's like a war going on? And there's babies literally starving to death? And you want to talk about him? What kind of creep are you? All right. Do whatever you want. I'm just going to be over here playing golf next to the graveyard of my first wife. Yeah. Post-sexual. I'm not buying it. At first I was like, yeah, I like that idea. Let's just latch onto that. And I think that that's probably what a lot of us are doing without even realizing it. It's like, oh, phew, he's post-sexual. Thank God, because I can't stand the thought of him and Laura Loomer or Blondie, Bondi, Caroline with KKK. I mean, you see the way she looks at him? Blondie Bondi, she's like practically performing on him in cabinet meetings. I mean, seriously, have you not noticed? And then you got the little Christy Gnome, who I think is around my age, but she looks like she's 12. She's about to overdose on Botox, botulism toxicity. Yeah, that's the thing. Remember, she was the nobody, the skinny woman who looked like she was babysitting the guy at the nursing home during that one campaign stop where he danced on the stage, did the double handy. She was doing it next to him. She was like, do you want me to play your song? Do you want them to play your song? And he was like, song? What the F are you talking about? She's like, your song, your favorite song, the one that you always want to play at the end. Do you want us to play that now? And then he was like, oh, yeah, the song. Yeah, play the song. And then 40 minutes later, after just playing songs, he was just like done. Oh, okay then. And then, at the time I was thinking, who is this weird chickadee? Then I started to hear about a book that she wrote, how she unalived her puppy dog, Annabise. Thank you for saving me from being all alone. How are you, my dear? Hi, Jazz and everyone. I'm listening on the down low. I'm eating lunch with my kids. Oh, that's so cute. Tell them I say hi. And thank you for saying hi, because it just gets a little like overwhelming with figuring out, like, am I being shadow banned? Am I not being shadow banned? That was bugging me. Are my lights okay? Do people not want to chat because they're unable to chat? Or I just can't figure out this damn YouTube thing to save my life. And I'm kind of sick of trying. Like, I love doing my thing. I just don't know. And yeah, the whole thing with censorship. So thank you for saying hi, Annabise. I won't ask you any questions since you're trying to be on the DL with your kiddos. I appreciate you very much. And it looks like it's just me and you. So dang it. Anyway, the thing about post-sexual, did you catch that? I said I wouldn't ask you any questions. It's just fun to have a conversation with somebody other than myself, right? Me and my committee. That's like this. The committee. I didn't make that up. A client of mine did. So remember when Trumpster Fire said, this was years ago, this was in his first administration, and he was asked by a reporter, who do you consult with on international relations? And he's like, I consult with myself because I have a really good brain. And it was right around the time that he said, I have good words. The goodliest, I'm pretty sure. Bigliest, that was right around the same time too. Bigliest was a thing. Goodliest I made up. I have to admit it. I don't want to exaggerate. But OMG. I do remember that. Good. I'm glad I'm not the only one. There's so many crazy things that he says. So, back in his deposition, when he was asked about the locker room talk about grabbing him by the Kit Kat and how rich people and movie stars have been able to do that for millions of years, was his quote. For millions of years. Really? Are you sure that money's been around for millions of years? Are you sure humans have been around for millions of years? And why is it that these fundamentalists are always the biggest effing pervs, like with this whole Project 2025 Heritage Foundation crap? These douchebags are probably the ones on the Epstein list. He has the biggest words, the best words, right? And the best brain. Why would he waste his time consulting with anyone else? So, I always thought that that was true, that he just consulted with his own self because, he's like schizophrenic or multiple personality disorder or whatever. And then it was just the last couple of days I thought he's probably consulting with Vladdy and people like that. He's been like an asset for things like BKG. We will like rearrange those letters, or is it SBT? We'll rearrange those letters. He's been an asset, an operative, an informant. So these are probably the people that he really consults with, but he couldn't say it. So rather than making up some imaginary friends that he consulted with, he was just like, oh, just, me, myself, and I, right? It's kind of like Me, Myself, and Irene, that Renee Zellweger movie. So let's see, what have I done in here differently? I keep rearranging stuff and lights and trying to get better lighting. I've got all kinds of contraptions. I keep telling you that I'm going to give you a tour, and then I don't. Maybe I'll go ahead and give you a tour real quick. Just kind of spin the laptop. Hopefully I'm not going to knock anything over. I'll probably knock everything over. Who am I kidding? And so get ready, because there'll be some lights that probably will stare right at you. But here we go. Everything's a work in progress. I'm going to just pick it up. All right. Da, 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 da. I don't even know if you can see stuff too good. Okay, I wasn't planning on doing that. So I haven't like cleaned or anything. You get to see my mess. I like to do it like that, warts and all. Because if I'm trying to like clean, then nothing's ever clean completely. I mean, you just gotta stop and say it's a work in progress. That's as good as it gets. Good enough. Deal with it later, right? Okay. There. Is that good? Did I get it back on track? I think I might have. Okay. So there, that was a tour. Did you see the full 180? Yes, I've got way too many clothes. I've got way too much Bath and Body Works products, especially now that we know where all the money for that stuff goes to. You think the lighting is fine? Well, that's because I finally put a green sheet over the light on the ceiling. That's brand new today. And I have, the kind of Christmas lights that I have up around the corners of the room. If you saw that, that's new just the last couple of days. Because, yeah, you want to have the ambient lighting. You don't want to have the spot lighting. You don't want to get flooded. You know, when you're flooded, it's like your skin looks metallic, and it's really hard for me to watch the content creators that overlight, you know, but a lot of times I'm not watching anyway. I'm just listening. And then me, I'm usually underlighting, and it's like I'm not trying to be spooky and scary. I'm sure that I am spooky and scary to somebody that has big secrets they're afraid I might touch on. So, you know, speaking as somebody who might have big secrets that I might want to touch on, let's just talk about Presidente again, some more, nonstop, because the situation with the little E is so out of control. And for that, we can thank him. So, you know, one of the last times it was brought up, he was just like, you know, the guy's a jerk. I haven't been friends with him for 20 years. You know, we had a big falling out. I kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago because he was hitting on one of my friend's kids. Oh, really? It was like the first time you ever saw him hit on somebody underage? Interesting. Yeah, I believe you. So then, I mean, you know, that birthday letter actually coincides with that timeline, I think, because the story is that they had their falling out in 2004, and the birthday letter is from 2003. But the thing that cracks me up about the birthday letter is that thing is a stinking bomb. And if good old Donnie Two Dolls just pulled out his thing from back in the day with Access Hollywood and whichever Bush kid that was that he was interviewing with when he said grab him by the hoochie coo. Yeah, that's just locker room talk. He could have said that with the freaking Epstein birthday card. He could have just been like, yeah, what gives? It's just freaking locker room talk. You know, I was requested to say something bawdy, to use their word. I've not heard that word in forever. I think that might be like obsolete from like the 1920s or something. I don't know. Who am I? Anyway, had he just like brushed it off with, you know, yeah, locker room talk, you know, we're dudes. I'm just being a dude. It's his birthday, you know, it's just being all weird, fun birthday madness. But instead, he's like, I never wrote a drawing. I never wrote a drawing. And then his kid is like, my dad doesn't know big words like enigma. Are you kidding me? That was the best. OMG. So then, yeah, all of the drawings that he's written, people started posting those, and people started posting clips of him giving speeches. Uh-oh. What happened? Did I hit something? Dang it. I don't care. It's just that I don't want to throw off my whole lighting thing there. I don't know why that went off. The Ghost in the Machine. Billy Bush. Thank you, dear. Thank you. Thank you. So yeah, Billy Bush with the Access Hollywood. And then remember when Melania was asked about that too? And she was like, yeah, locker room talk. And she's just like, you know, teenage boys. And the person interviewing her reminded her that he was like 70 at the time, in his 60s maybe at the time. It was a while back. And they were just like, yeah, well, he's not really a teenage boy, is he? He's a little bit older than that. She's like, yeah, but you know, I got the boys. I do. I got the son, and then I got to deal with this man, baby. Holy crap. And I've really wondered about her if she might not have met Donnie when she was even younger than they say. I think they say she was about 26 when they met, but now we're learning that, you know, we can't believe anything that they say. Isn't that interesting? So anyway, let me look at my notes. Yeah, post sexual. I would love it if I could just use that to like block any images out of my mind of El Presidente taking advantage of his staff or other people that are dependent on him for their careers. Models, athletes, athletes. Didn't he assault a woman that was like 6'1"? Which is very unusual. But then, he might have been as tall as 6'2" or 6'3". At least that's what he says. But also Ivana, she was really tall. She was like 5'11". It's just interesting, I find, as we learn more about not just people in the modeling agency and the casting couch in Hollywood and the R. Kelly couch in, R&B. But, we've all known that that's the way the world works. That's the way politics works. That's the way businesses work. But what I didn't realize is that that's the way athletics sometimes works. So I played a lot of high school sports. I played college sports. I played volleyball and I played soccer. And now looking back, I can totally see, like, in college and playing soccer, I had a female coach for a year who was, playing on the other team, so to speak. And she was sleeping with one of the girls on our team, the youngest girl, who happened to be not even 18 and was engaged, freshman, of course. And she seemed to like me, but I was a senior and I too was engaged. And the one she was sleeping with got a lot of playing time. And I never really put it all together until like right now, hearing all these things about OSU, Larry Nasser, Olympic sports, um, the DuPont guy. So OSU, there was this huge scandal for decades with the wrestling coach and doctor and the administration there. That's kind of blowing up. It's creepy because OSU's in Columbus. I live in Ohio. I have a very positive impression and interface with OSU. My mom was born there. My grandparents went to college there back in the early 40s. They saved my dog's life earlier this year with cancer treatment at their veterinary hospital. That's like the fourth greatest in the country and maybe the world. Anyway, yeah, I have a lot of positive things to say about OSU. Although when you go to the campus, you see all these buildings with a name on them, Wexner. That's the name you see on all these buildings. I think he went to school there. I don't know. We know that our VP went to school there. Yeah, I think Wexner was born in Dayton. I think he was born and raised in Ohio. Dayton's a much smaller city than Columbus, but a lovely city nonetheless. Anyway, he took over that town, New Albany, where he resides, where he had a house for his buddy Jeffrey, where they allegedly had a tunnel in between the two houses. So this town, New Albany, I think had a population of about 600 people when he started purchasing the majority of the town. And so since, he's pretty much destroyed the town single-handedly with all of his construction, not just for his living and his buddies' living, but his businesses. So Bath and Body Works, Abercrombie Fitch, Victoria's Secret, Limited, what's it called? Like L stores or something like that. There's so many, I can't even think of them all. Express. It goes on and on and on. So he started with the limited back in the 80s, and then he hit the ground running. His parents were both retailers in Dayton, so he had a good head start. And now at this point in time, he's probably about 87 years old, so he didn't get 86. And he kind of just like lays low and dodges all the bullets, and everyone else kind of gets put out on the forefront for him, in my opinion. So like little E. So we'll just call him Big Daddy. Les. He pretty much created little E. He also may or may not have created Michael Jeffries. Michael Jeffries, you might know the name. I think he was arrested sometime last year, finally, after like 10 years. He had owned Abercrombie and Fitch. There might have been some involvement with, I want to say Hollister, but I'm not sure. So I don't want to be like dragging their name through the mud. Definitely Abercrombie and Fitch. So, they would take, sorry for whacking the mic, they would take all of these young model wannabes on these retreats in New Albany, right outside of Columbus. And if you were lucky enough, you were invited there to do photo shoots basically for the catalogs, and it would last like an entire 3-day weekend. Parents would be dropping their teenage hotties off, hoping that they would get to be in the catalog. So, the ones that would get to be in the catalog were the ones that cooperated the most. Let's just say the friendliest ones would get in the catalog. Yeah, I know somebody, in fact, who was one of the Abercrombie and Fitch models, a female. There was a whole lot of male on male activity going on. Do I have a puppy dog at the door? Hold on. Hey, Coco and Crazy One. Okay. I got 2 of the crazies. Come here, baby. Oh, this one is so pretty. I showed her off yesterday when she was soaking wet, and I thought, oh, gross, it's all rain from being outside and the wetness. But I picked her up and she wasn't gross. I found out later she'd just been given a bath. So thank goodness. And so now she's like extra clean and silky, soft, and precious and crazy. A cutie pies. Yeah. Your youth, our youth are not safe, girls and boys. How funny, all these 1% are predators. Oh, the football coach. Oh, Sandusky, Penn State. Thank you. Yeah, Anna Bees, you're right on it. Hey, no, I knew that was going to happen. Hold on. The little one is starving Marvin. Come here, baby. She's crazy for the food. And I've got a dog dish with some food in it that was up high, and so she was trying to knock down everything to get to it, so I had to put it up higher. She'll probably just tear the whole room apart. Coco, you want to go behind me, Coco? You can go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead, baby. You can go behind me. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. You want to go? Go ahead. Go ahead. Is there not enough room? Come here, Coco. All right. She's not going to go. I was hoping that she would so you could see her pretty little face. Come on, baby. Come over here, Coco. Come here. There you go. There. Because, yeah, you guys never get to see Coco, especially because she's all dark in my dark lighting. There she is. She's so pretty. She loves to sit behind me and rearrange the lights, right? Anyway, yeah, usually don't see her, but now in my new studio, the camera is more angled, so you see all the way down to the floor. Anyway, enough about all that. Where was I with all this rancid crap that you were right on the ball with the Sandusky and Penn State, the football coach? Funny how all these 1% predators. Right, but then they all want to do this this Handmaid's Tale thing, this Project 2025, this Heritage Foundation crap, the fundamentalist crap, but then they're predators and they're abusing both genders, and usually it's like the same sex gender, but they're married and have kids and they're definitely not gay, right? Oh my goodness, it's just a flippin' nightmare. Like, how many people's lives have just been destroyed? And I have a lot of compassion for anybody who's been abused in any sense of the word abuse, but I especially, I think, have just some real I guess like a deep understanding of men trying to wrap their minds around the fact that they were abused. I kind of talk about it regularly. Like, I refer to that movie Prince of Tides, and I don't like referring to that movie because it's just a disgusting storyline. But a lot of men are so conditioned from the time that they're brought into this world to believe that there are no victims and that men certainly can't be a victim. And then when they're victimized, they block it out. They're too embarrassed to tell anybody. They're too embarrassed to admit it to themselves. So, as impossibly hard as it is for females to deal with being victimized and admitting it to themselves and others, it's even harder for men, I think. So it just really breaks my heart. And, I applaud anybody who can step forward and tell their story. And so many people have been doing exactly that with Donnie Two Dolls. So we're learning more and more. I had found some information like a week ago about the millions of dollars that he paid out to families of children that he abused. I'd say allegedly, but it's like, it's settlements, it's legal court work. So it's kind of beyond allegedly. So there's a lot of these people that he specifically has paid out their families because he abused them, and they were boys and girls. So I think there's about 13 of them. But anyway, now that he's post-sexual, we don't have to worry about him being a predator anymore, right? Like, what do his kids think? What in the world do his kids think? Do they allow him to be in private with grandkids? I just can't imagine. So, I was talking about Kylie Rodney's case a little bit yesterday, as we're coming up on the 3-year anniversary in about 2 weeks, right? Just slightly over 2 weeks. And I was remembering how when I started my channel, I had all those AI bots going into my comment section and just tearing me up. And at the time, I thought it was just trolls, like human trolls. Like, I figured it was people from Truckee that were all in on it and were all trying to criticize and embarrass and make fun of and that kind of thing. And, I thickened my skin pretty quickly because I was prepared for that kind of thing. I mean, that was probably one of the reasons why I didn't want to start a YouTube channel. And that's probably a reason why a lot of people that might start a YouTube channel are like, nah, I don't want to deal with all of that. And, I'd say that it's actually good to deal with all of that because I don't know, thickening your skin is good. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Just letting these people out themselves. Like I said, at the time, I figured that it was Scammy's friends and people on the inside track. And now that I am 3 years into my channel and know more about bots, I think that it was probably bots. So either way, but my point is about if it was bots, like, so who would be unleashing the bots onto the new Kylie Rodney channel? Wouldn't that be like the YouTube owners, the managers? So it became very apparent to those of us that were really involved and invested in Kylie Rodney's tragedy. It became very apparent very quickly. Sorry, what was that? Oh, I think Coco probably knocked that down. Either that or the ghost. Sorry, Coco. You all right? Um, so it's Kylie Rodney that did it, huh? Wow. Okay. So yeah, so it became very apparent to us pretty quickly that it was, and I'll just say it. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that the people that own YouTube had some family members involved in the whole Kylie Rodney thing at the very least. So they were very invested in the cover up. We know that there were all kinds of FBI and Homeland Security and U.S. Marshals and 16 agencies out there, 20,000 hours of, was that the professionals or was that the volunteers? I think that was the professionals, the 20,000 hours that they kept talking about, how they had 20,000 hours combined looking for her and they couldn't find her right under their own feet. That whole case is so crazy. Then they started kicking out the idea of trafficking right away. Scammy started kicking out that idea. Oh yeah, I think she was trafficked. Really? What would make you even think that for a second? Why would that even come into your mind when, it was just drunk driving, right? Just drunk driving. So the people that own the tube are some of these oligarchs that own everything. So yeah, it's kind of shocking that they allow any of us to say anything on this platform. But what's even more shocking is how they'll allow people like that dodgy Tony to talk about being a pedo and necro, and he doesn't get banned or shadow banned. He still has a channel. But then like Ninja is trying to put out videos about Madeline Soto and she's all shadow banned and censored. Paula Plunder was heavily messed with a couple of years ago. They took her channel down. They took down all of her videos. I thought that happened to me last week. For like an hour, all my videos came up video unavailable. And I was just like, huh? And then remember, they killed my little 1 minute video just like a week ago. I worked so hard on that. I mean, most YouTubers, it wouldn't take them forever to make a short. For me, it took me a while because I hadn't done it in a while. And then my battery died. And so then I had to start over. So all in all, it probably took me between 2 and 3 hours to put this little 55-second clip together. And then I sent it to all my friends and family, and even my sister hadn't watched it. And when I told her that it was taken down, she was like, "Oh, I wish I would have watched it." I was like, "Yeah, I wish you would have too, and maybe even screen recorded." But anyway, so that video that got taken down was about Donnie admitting some crazy stuff. It was when he was in Texas, and he did the thing about when he was shot in the ear, allegedly, a year ago. So it was like the day before the anniversary, and that guy Will Kane from Fox News was interviewing him, and was like, "Oh, tomorrow's the 1 year anniversary of you almost taking a bullet, right?" He was like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, but I was saved by somebody very special like me." OMG. And I think that that part got clipped out of my longer videos that I clipped it out of for my shorter video. That's why all my videos got frozen up for that hour. I don't know. I don't know. It's just mind boggling, isn't it? I don't know how we keep up. In high school, one of my guy friends was at a party, which mainly was boys. After he fell asleep, the host of the party tried to SA him. He was touched. He only told me about it. He was very upset. OMG, Annabes. I am so sorry. Wow. It was a good short. Thanks, Annabes. I've thought about trying to redo it, or maybe even doing a short about it. Because I could do it without the clip from the interview. Because they were trying to say that I couldn't use the clip from the interview, but it's like the whole thing with fair use. But then they tried to say, well, we changed the rules about it. So no, we changed the rules about it for that day, and so we took your video down, and now the rules are the way they were. No, I don't know. I can't keep up with their bull crap. I'm just glad that I still have my channel, because if they took my channel down, I would have to find another outlet for my creativity and my therapy for dealing with all of the news that I try to digest. So yes, they are censoring everything. I know. Like all the channels that I watch are getting more heavily censored. Stephen Colbert, exactly, Annabes. And this is the thing, is when they do that kind of stuff, they're just giving themselves away. They're absolutely giving themselves away. So again, even in Donnie Toodall's denial of that he's never he's never written a picture. He's never wrote a picture, and that wasn't him, and that he didn't make that birthday thing, and he's going to sue Rupert Murdoch and the horse that he rode in on for $80 bazillion. I think it was 80 billion, but I'm just like, why not a bazillion? Come on, just go for it. Gazillion. Come on, just put it in print. Just say gazillion. Let's do it. So, yeah. Instead of all of that, he's just drawing more attention to it. If he, like I was saying earlier, if he would just be like, yeah, man, that's just locker room talk, just me and my homie on his birthday, just being like perverted dudes, because dudes are perverted, right? Oh, okay. There's nothing in that birthday card that is actually incriminating. That's what's so funny, is it doesn't say like you and me and the 12-year-olds, right? It doesn't say that. It just says like happy birthday, and may every day have a new secret or something creepy AF. And oh, you and me are a lot alike, and when you have everything in the world, what else is there to make you happy? Well, people don't know, but I know, and you know, and we won't tell anybody because it's all a secret. So, like, what could they possibly be alluding to? But if he would just come forward and say it was a birthday card, it doesn't mean jack. It's just locker room talk. then it would be over and done with. But that's the beauty of it, is when he just keeps lying lies on tops of lies on tops of lies on tops of lies. And Rupert Murdoch is very old. I think he's 40, 94. I think he's 94. Um, so I don't know, maybe he'll fall down some stairs like Ivana when she was 73. Not accusing anybody of nothing. Just wondering. Stephen Colbert. So Stephen Colbert's sister was a politician. I don't know if she was ever elected, but I know she ran for politics. And yeah, him, being into political satire and, kind of reminds me of like Vladimir Zelensky. He was an actor, he was a comedian. He got pressured into running for president, and Ukraine, of course. Oh, goodness. Don't get me started on Ukraine and Epstein and the Zorro Ranch. No, you have no idea where I'm going with that, because I am like in a rabbit hole. Yes, it's sus about Ivana. It's so sus. And it's sus about Stephen Colbert. So before I forget, let me talk about that rabbit hole. So Anna Bees, that I was watching the Helena Hutchins trial very, very closely, and where that happened, where she lost her life during the filming of Rust, with Alec Baldwin shooting her in front of people in the middle of the day, just like Trumpster Fire said how he could do and still be famous and still have people love him. Funny, huh? Especially because the irony, Alec Baldwin like hates the Trumpster Fire, and he did all the Trumpster Fire impressions on SNL. Like, why not get him fired, Donnie? But anyway, it's all politics. It's all who you know. So Zorro Ranch is not far from the place where they were filming Rust. The Bonanza Ranch, I think is what it's called. It's not far at all. They're both like southeast of Santa Fe, like half an hour. They might be half an hour or 45 minutes apart. But I just thought that was interesting because, what if? Let me just dive into a rabbit hole real quick, because it took me a while to get there, and then I was just like, oh no, I might need professional help. I don't think that this is what's happened or what's happening, but it's just like The Handmaid's Tale. When I read that back in the late 80s, nobody thought that could happen. Nobody thought that could happen. The science fiction stuff. So Zorro Ranch, Jeffrey himself said that he was purchasing it to make it his baby farm. And it's surrounded by government property, and there were a lot of people abused there. Maria Farmer's little sister, Annie Farmer, was abused there at Zorro Ranch. I think she was 15 or 16, and I think that both Ghislaine and Jeffrey violated her, and she was trapped at Zorro Ranch. She was from New York. Annie Farmer is the younger sister. Maria Farmer is the older sister. So Maria Farmer is an artist. She wasn't underage, I don't think, when she first met them. But Annie Farmer and Maria Farmer were two of the first victims to go to the authorities and try to get help. And they did that in 1996 and got nowhere. And then Maria Farmer, I think, was mostly abused actually here in Ohio and in New Albany, on Les's property. So So she was an artist, and she was told that she could do this commissioned work for Les and for As Good as It Gets, for that movie, As Good as It Gets. So I don't know. I haven't looked to see if her artwork was in the movie or not. But with all the abuse, she quit doing her art for over 20 years, and she took on a different name, and she was hiding out in North Carolina. And then she came out of the woodwork. So both her and her sister testified against Ghislaine. I know I'm just talking in circles because that's what all of this crap is. It's so hard to keep up. I apologize. So back to Kylie Rodney, back to the crazy rabbit hole with um, Helena Hutchins. She was an extremely attractive woman, and people don't seem to mention that too often. Just like they don't mention how extremely attractive Kylie Rodney was, or how extremely attractive the Idaho Four were. Why don't they just mention it? Like, what's the problem with just like stating the obvious? But it never occurred to me until earlier today, learning that Zorro Ranch was so close to where they filmed Rust. And I thought, well, what if they harvested some of her eggs? Helena Hutchins, she was shot. She was still alive, I think, when the medics got there, even though it took them like an hour to get her into the helicopter. I think she was still alive when she got airlifted out of there. What if they harvested some of her eggs for Zorro Ranch? I don't know. It sounds effing crazy, but these people do crazy things, these elite. And then if you find out about it or you suspect it, then you're the crazy one. You are the crazy one, right? So, yeah, I'm thinking that's completely insane. There's just no way possible, but who knows what we'll find out the next few days. Oh, me brain. I gotta stop thinking of things, huh? That's a really treacherous thought. I've wondered that with the Idaho 4, if they might have harvested. I mean, the harvesting was something that was talked about early on with that Idaho 4. And that Idaho 4 case just keeps getting weirder and weirder, even though it should be settled. It should be water under the bridge, right? I mean, the sentencing hearing isn't until October 3rd, unless somebody gets Epstein. Who knows? See, I always thought it would never go to trial. I always thought that the criminal defendant would get Epstein. And so Kylie Rodney. So remember when Dr. Latina made her YouTube channel? I think she started it with that single video where she spoke about, was it the one where she did the autopsy report, or was it that she spoke about the case in general and then did the autopsy report? But I mean, what a great professional she was, because that took a lot of cojones to come out into the streets of YouTube when you're a practicing physician and you're talking about a case that the elites of Tahoe might be up to their eyeballs in, and you're shooting holes in their bullcrap story. Or I think she started her whole channel with Kylie Rodney didn't drown. And it's funny, not funny. Let me see what you're saying, Annabise. Yes, they are censoring everything. Stephen Colbert, yes, it's sus about Ivana. Since MAGA people don't watch anything that isn't propaganda, they don't know about all the things little T does. Well, and now, I was saying in my video yesterday, I don't know if you had a chance to check it out, Annabise, because I know you were picking your son up at the airport. Um, and I don't think I'd ever shared this on my channel, but I was informed by somebody who was QAnon. She was the sister of a good friend of mine who thought that she could like win me over into her QAnon cult, I guess. Like, I think I was prey for her. And she thought, especially because that their primary belief, her primary belief about why Donnie Two Dolls was so awesome and worthy of being a cult leader was because he was going to not only save all the children that are being trafficked, he was going to end trafficking altogether. Like, that is really at the core of the MAGA movement, is that they believe that all the politicians and all the elite and all the Hollywood industry, that all of those people are doing this stuff, and that none of them gives a flying F except Donnie Two Dolls, who's gonna put an end to all of it with his magic wand. So they really believe that, which is why they've been so upset by this whole Epstein Files thing. And let me just say, while this whole Epstein Files thing is going on, the war that has been continuing, the war in Washington D.C., in the in our government, is just off the rails. The crap that's going on that's not getting much airtime because everybody's running around chasing their tails about the birthday card. And it all needs to be talked about, all of it. All of it. So yeah, I was looking at some statistics about how Donnie Two Dolls' approval rating from the MAGA base is actually going up. But I wonder if you break it down, if it's not because the people that were the MAGA base that are done with him now are not counted in that because they're not considered the MAGA base. So the ones that are willing to stick it out with him, yeah, that percentage would be going up. That would make sense. But they don't explain that. I think it's CNN is the channel that talks about all of those like approval rating things. The guy's name is like Harry Enton or something like that. And he's funny. He's funny AF. But yeah, I was just like, it would make sense that his approval rating is going up if his MAGA base is getting smaller and the only ones that are still there are the diehards. Because if you have one left, you have one MAGA who's like all in, then you could say he has 100% approval rating from his MAGA base. I mean, that's the thing, is a lot of people don't understand statistics, and fortunately, I understand them a little bit because I've done a lot of that kind of work in college and graduate school. Um, there's always an angle on it. You got to know who's doing the research, who's paying for the research, what it is they're trying to discover or support, and just, I mean, I'm sure you know, Annabise, from being a nurse, you just got to know all the qualifying factors. You got to know the methodology. I mean, it's not the MAGA base that he had a few years ago, because more than half of them have probably jumped ship by now, especially as of late. So yeah, the diehards are going to be all in. Anyway, yeah. Oh, I can't watch anyone covering the Idaho 4 case right now because they are all believing the prosecution. It is ridiculous, isn't it? It is absolutely grotesque to me. It's completely insane. And back to the whole thing about how attractive these people are, some of these victims, like the Idaho 4, like Kylie Rodney, like Helena Hutchins, and that never gets even brushed over, barely ever, by mainstream media. But then they also want to say with Kylie Rodney and with the Idaho 4, there were no signs of any SA. Huh. Because these people were all activated in that sense. So it would be relevant who the last partners were that they had and when the last partners and them were activating, if you follow. And now all this information about how Kaylee was gagged and gouged, and I'm sorry, I didn't say trigger warning. All of this extra attention on destroying Kaylee G. And it's just some rando dude, some incel who, was hangry because he was a vegan and he had awkward social skills, so he thought he'd kill all the pretty people. It's possible. I mean, Ted Bundy, look at him, right? I mean, you got to go back to the basics. BTK, Ted Bundy. But really, I mean, even the professor that the criminal defendant in the Idaho 4 case had, Catherine, I can't remember her last name, the professor who was like the BTK expert. Didn't her last name start with an R? Catherine Rawlings or something. Let's see. BTK expert professor Catherine Ramsland. Man, I got the first name and the R. I said Rawlings. I was thinking of Black Flag. That guy. Henry Rawlings? No. Anyway, Dr. Catherine Ramsland was Koberger's professor before he moved to the Pacific Northwest. She was one of the people who recommended him for the PhD program. And then there was this other younger professor who also recommended him for that PhD program. So now they're just saying that they were duped? Like, or are they being duped now? Oh, you did listen to the live last night, Anna Bees. You're so sweet. Thank you. I listened too. I do try to review all my videos for quality control. Oh my goodness. I said, I wrote it down. This is why I have to write everything down all the time. I wrote it down in my red pen. I said that Ghislaine was a victim when I meant to say Virginia Giuffre. I said Ghislaine Maxwell at the 1 hour and 23 minute mark. Did you catch that, Anna Bees? I was like, dear Lord, this is why I review my videos. I need to put a note in there. But I also, when I make a mistake like that, I like to address it in my upcoming video. So I'm glad that I did. So thank you for prompting me there, Anna Bees. And I also like to put it in my comment section, and I like to put it in my description so that I can put it everywhere that I can, even though most people are probably not going to catch any of that. At least I know that I've covered my bases. So I was mentioning the victims of Little E, and I think I mentioned probably like Annie Farmer and Maria Farmer and Ghislaine Maxwell. And again, Freudian slip. In some ways, she was maybe a victim. I mean, she's a perpetrator too. I mean, that's the thing about these crazy mofos is that Little E even turned Virginia Giuffre into being a perpetrator. He turned all of them into being perps by having them recruit other young girls. And then they've got the blood on their hands too, so they're not going to want to turn him in because they're thinking they could get prosecuted for the same thing. That's how these MFs roll. This is exactly how they roll. They get you into the mud with them. They get you to commit the crimes that they're committing, so you have the red stuff on your hands, and you can't turn them in because you'd be going down too. It's just so hard to keep up with the crazy, man. These freaking gaslighters OMG. Thank you for listening to my live last night, Annabise, and thank you for being here. Yes, I know they believe that he was going to end trafficking, right? As if anybody could. I mean, that's a really nice idea to think that there's a possibility of trafficking being ended completely. I mean, come on, people. Like, this is why it's good to be realistic, so you don't get completely duped like that. Okay, just checking the time. We're just over an hour. I wanted to try to get through all those notes that I was saving for today. I've gotten through some of them. There's shackled bodies washing up in shores. They are thinking that they're the immigrants who left in cargo planes. Annabise, I haven't heard about this. Is this just new in the news today? Gross. And so I did hear that they are making another like alligator Alcatraz kind of thing in Indiana, right next door to me. You know, I'm in Ohio, but Indiana is like some of the most corrupt law enforcement in our country, going back to the Idaho 4 case, and when they pulled over the criminal defendant twice in Indiana, when they could have pulled him over in 10 other states. Why Indiana? He has Proud Boys and the like. Yeah, I don't think I noticed. So, see, that's the thing is like, yeah, I'm glad that I noticed, because even when I review my videos, I used to sometimes review them more than once because I would maybe notice things the second time that I didn't notice the first time. I'd be like, man, I'm glad I reviewed it more than once. Last night I heard this. Damn, I have not heard about that. That is so effing creepy. That is so gross. Okay. Um, where am I? So we got to remember that Ghislaine Maxwell was sentenced on June 28th of 2022. And then Donnie's ex-wife fell down the flight of stairs on July 14th of 2022. I have been hitting on this so many times in the last few months, ever since I learned about it. And then when I realized how close those two dates were to each other, 2 weeks and 2 days, and they were friends. Ivana probably knew everything Ghislaine knew. She probably knew too much. Oh my goodness, Anna B's Hegseth. I don't remember if I said this in my video yesterday. I think I did. That he's expecting another baby with his boss, ex-boss wife, who was his boss when they had their first love child, when they were still married to their spouses, and they each had 3 little kids. So then they got married 2 years after the birth of their love child, but they got married 9 days after Jeffrey was Epsteined on August 10th of 2019. August 19th of 2019, they got married on one of Trumpster Fire's other golf courses in New Jersey, not the one Ivana's placed in the dirt at. So now they're having their 8th baby, their second one together. Ew, I wonder if one of the kids from Jen's first marriage that her ex-husband thinks is his, I wonder if one of them might actually be her current husband's. Because this is how it gets so crazy when talking about Kegg's breath, back when he first started coming into our view, and people would talk about when he was married to his second wife still, but his third wife was having his baby, but she wasn't his third wife yet. So there were a lot of like really twisted, sordid jokes about all that. Uh, And so for my thumbnail today, I used a photograph of Ivana's family walking out of the church from her funeral. So that's what that is. So that's Donnie, and Don Jr., I think, is in the picture. I know Don Jr.'s ex fiance and Newsom's ex wife, Kimberly Guilfoyle. And so Governor Newsom's ex wife, Kimberly Guilfoyle, is also Don Jr.'s ex fiance, and she may or may not have had an affair with his father. And then Melania is in the photograph, and I think Ivanka is in the photograph. I think Eric's in the photograph. But they are sorry. I think that's just a reminder for my appointment for tomorrow. What was I saying? None of them are crying. They don't even really look sad. So they're at the top of the stairs. They just opened the doors of the church and they're coming out. They're all wearing black. They all look, fancy. They look a little bit somber, but they don't look somber enough for something that tragic to have happened that suddenly. I mean, these are the children. This is their mother. This is a really hard thing to lose your mom, even when you're expecting it. I know that from experience. It's very weird to me. And then I mean, you got the mobster boss there in charge at his ex-wife's funeral. Like, she's not yours. You don't own her. Why did you take possession of her remains and put them on your freaking private property? It makes my stomach turn. It makes me sick. And for her children to not apparently ask too many questions, I don't know. I don't get it. It's gross. Let's see. He has Proud Boys and the like. I don't think I noticed last night. I heard this. Okay, sorry. I just wanted to make sure I got all that about the people washing up on shores in shackles. So we know that there's a lot of trafficking going on. We know that Epstein, he's not the only one. Diddy's not the only one. This is like a huge thing. This whole like white slavery thing, if you want to call it that. This is a huge thing that nobody talks about. Who's doing it? Who can afford to do it? Who can afford to disappear people and transport them all over the world without their identity being detected? It's a good thing when you own your own plane. It's a good thing when you own your own boat. It's really good for trafficking. It's mind-boggling. Sometimes people talk about Little E or Sean Combs being kind of scapegoated, and it's hard to think of them as victims, right? And they're not, in my opinion, they're not victims, but they are kind of being hung out to dry, like they're being used as a sacrificial lamb. Like, we'll give you one if you just don't ask any questions. Why does Elon Musk have a boring company? And so he was contracted with Dubai for a subway system, but don't they do a lot of this type of stuff in Dubai? Isn't that like what Dubai is all about? Because that's what tunnels are all about. Man, I gotta just stay out of these tunnels and rabbit holes. It's very crazy. Thank you for being in it with me, Anna. Oh man, I wish none of it were true. I wish it was all just conspiracy theory. It makes me sick too. Yeah, it really does. It really does. So, this is another thing. Oh, this is a couple of really important things I want to say before I sign off today. Virginia Giuffre had named Trumpster Fire, and she named Alan Dershowitz in her lawsuits for them victimizing her, for them violating her for statutory. Alan Dershowitz and Donnie Two Dolls. So to back out of that, because she backed out of both of them, even after filing lawsuits and talking about them in depositions, and then to back out of the Dershowitz one, and I believe she was forced to say this, but she still lost her life anyway, 2 weeks before the Diddy trial started. Or no, 10 days. 10 days before the Diddy trial started, a week and a half. Okay. To back out from the Dershowitz accusation, because this dirty rat bastard is vicious. She said, and he quotes her on this all the effing day long, that she may have mistaken him for someone else. That's how she gets out of that one. Not that she did mistake him for someone else, but that she may have. That exact quote is what she used anytime his name was brought up, that she may have mistaken him for someone else. And he quotes those exact words all the time. So obviously that was a script. That was scripted. That was agreed upon. As far as Donnie goes, she has a different script. She says, nothing ever happened with him that I can remember. I don't remember him ever being there. She always qualifies it with, I don't remember. So she kind of states things as a matter of fact, but always attaches the I don't remember. I don't remember is code for I'm lying and I'm not going to tell you. That is literally code in court. When someone says, I don't remember, they might as well just say, I'm bald-faced lying to you and there's nothing you can do about it. So anytime Giuffre was confronted on this, after she filed lawsuits against him, after she mentioned him assaulting her in depositions and getting trafficked to Dear Leader, she then retracted all of that with the I don't remember if I ever saw him. I don't remember if he was ever there. I don't remember. I don't remember. I don't remember. So again, to go over that with Dershowitz, she may have mistaken him for someone else. Then again, she may not have, right? And with Donnie Two Dolls, she doesn't remember nothing. Okay. Yeah, the terrorism, the absolute terrorism. I was wondering if I'm going to try to be funny. I was wondering if Trumpster Fire could sue Trumpster Fire for defamation. That's what I was wondering. That's what I really want to know. So that man has sued, I think he's filed over 3,000 lawsuits in his lifetime. Dear Leader has filed over 3,000 lawsuits in his lifetime, probably as much as everybody else in the world put together, it sounds like. I mean, of course, I'm exaggerating. But is there anyone even close to that? I doubt it. But I think he should sue himself because he keeps defaming himself with all of his effing lies and bull crap. Yeah. What about Laura Loomer or Christy Nome said the alligators could have 65 million meals. That's the number of all the Latinos in the US. I heard that, Anna Bees. I heard that a couple of days ago, and thank you so much, because I didn't even write it down to try to reiterate it because it's just TMI and so disgusting. Thank you for bringing it up for anyone who hasn't caught that yet. So Laura Loomer or Kristi Noem said that the alligators in Florida could have 65 million meals, the exact number of the Latinos in the US. Is it 65 million? Because I'm almost thinking it was 67 million, that it was even more specific. Let's see. How many meals did Laura Loomer or Kristi Noem say that the alligators could have at Alligator Alcatraz? Yeah, you nailed it. I wasn't trying to prove you wrong. I was just trying to prove that it was really specific. Yeah, 65 million. But I'm going to ask to because I haven't spoken to my phone enough yet in this video, right? How many Latinos are there in the US? And it just is so horrifying. In 2023, there were approximately 65.2 million Hispanics or Latinos living in the United States, making up about 20% of the US total population, actually 19.5%. So, yeah. Oh, it's always good to cross-reference things, right? So yeah, that was the number that they used, and yeah, that is the number of. Like I said, I'm not trying to like fact check you, girl. I'm just trying to fact check them, basically. Oh, it's so gross. Annabee says, if I ever get disappeared, just know I am second generation American, and my grandparents were from Mexico and moved to the Arizona territories before Arizona was part of the U.S. Arizona didn't become a state until 1912. Oh man, it's just so insane. It's just, I am so sorry, my dear. I mean, look at like Melania and her illegal immigration status, and look at Donnie and his mother's own illegal immigration status. Look at Ivana and her situation. Like, maybe all of those Trumps should get deported. I don't know. I don't know all the immigration status rules and regulations, but I mean, honestly, I don't feel like anybody should get deported. I feel like it's America, and this is how we do things. We allow people citizenship and asylum, and it doesn't have anything to do with an insane asylum, okay? Asylum. You know, we have transgender mice and everything. Come on. Transgenic, okay? When Donnie Two Dolls talks about the transgender mice, it's the transgenic mice that are used for medical research. Transgenic, genetic. No one's making transvestite mice, okay? Like, get a brain, man. He's so stupid. But don't you love the idea of transvestite mice? Come on. How about some trans squirrels too while you're at it, and some trans bunny rabbits? OMG. Okay. So this is another one that nobody talks about, but everybody should, is how come there's no there? Okay. So the whole thing with there not being any there, I think that I want to say Kash Patel was who came up with that, but I'm going to ask artificial intelligence because I didn't think about which person said it first. But now we all say it and we're kind of making fun of them. And it's so much like the Clinton, it depends what your definition of is. Who said there was no there in reference to the Epstein files? I think it was Kash Patel, but let's see what. The phrase no there has been widely used by various commentators and individuals as expressing skepticism or disappointment about the lack of new revelations or a definitive list of names in the release document. While no single person can be definitively credited with the first to use the phrase in this context, now I'm pretty sure it was probably Kash Patel. If not Cash, it was Bungholio. And yeah, they said it in that interview. But see, AI is trying to cover for them. AI, you're a piece of crap. We know what you're up to. Of course, you can. Okay, the phrase "there's no there" is an idiom originally coined by Gertrude Stein in reference to her childhood home. If you remember Gertrude Stein, Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, which had undergone significant changes, making it unrecognizable. In this context, the phrase implies that despite the presence of documents, the expected substance or the there is missing. The use of the phrase highlights it was definitely one of them that said it first. And I'm going to look for that interview. I think it was Kash Patel, but like I said, it might have been Bongino. And just a quick reminder, Bongino, Nutlick, I mean, not Nutlick. What's his actually name? Letnick, but Nutlick is so much funner to say. And who else was in on it with them? Was it Peter Thiel that helped Rumble get off the ground? So I forget the guy's name who started Rumble. There's like one guy who started it, but then Lutnick and Bongino and I think Peter Thiel all helped make it public. And I was so creeped out when I learned that. And I like to include that every time I think of it because, sort of like things like in the Kylie Rodney case, I try never to miss an opportunity to talk about Trinity Backus's stepdad, Nevada County Sheriff's Deputy Christopher Stanio, and his identical twin brother, California State Highway Patrol Trooper Matthew Stanio, especially because Deputy Stanio was part of the boots on the ground searching for Kylie Rodney. And then 3 months later, his stepdaughter goes missing right after her mother moves back in with him. And it's never mentioned. It's never mentioned anything about Trinity Backus's stepdad being law enforcement or having an identical twin or his identical twin also being law enforcement or her stepdad being boots on the ground looking for Kylie Rodney. Just mention it and then it's not quite so suspicious. When you skip over it, then we know you're hiding something and then we're suspicious. So again, for that, we can thank them, right? Because yeah, they could like totally kill my little conspiracy theory there by just saying how heartbreaking, how gut-wrenching when the stepdad was already looking for the other beautiful 16-year-old missing teenager who was discovered unalive just 3 months before his stepdaughter, same thing happened. Like, why not just say it? My grandparents were legal residents after 1912. That's awesome. There. I'm confused. So yeah, the there is both times it's spelled with the THERE. Um, there is no there. So, like I said, I think it was Kash Patel who said it. I think it was in that whacked out interview that was on a Sunday about a month ago when him and Bongino came out to tell the Fox News reporter that Epstein definitely did Epstein himself. That there's absolutely no doubt about it, that they both know this for fact because they're both experts in this kind of thing. Um, so let's see. Kash Patel and Bongino interview with Fox News to say that Epstein definitely killed his own self. Um, I'm just trying to find who did that interview. Oh, it doesn't matter. The girl with the dark brown hair, and she's a total sycophant, but sometimes she's reasonable. Um, what reporter interviewed them on Sunday a couple of weeks ago? Maria Bartiromo. That's who it was. So let's see. It was 2 months ago. I think it was May 18th. Told Fox News Maria Bartiromo that Jeffrey's death was a suicide. So I think that was the interview where they said it. I'm going to do more research on that. But I think that's where Cash said there was no there. Anyway, something about with the Epstein files. Maybe it was more recent than that. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up because we're at an hour and a half already. There. I know it's so insane. It crazy making. Okay. What else? So much. Yeah, Dershowitz is dirty AF. And so is Bannon, and so is Trumpster Fire, and so is Barr. And I think that those four had everything to do with Epstein getting Epsteined. Because Dershowitz was his attorney, Ghislaine's attorney. He's the one leveraging for Ghislaine right now. So Midas Touch, I want to give full credit to them. They asked the really brilliant question last night of who unearthed the birthday card. Was that Ghislaine? Was that Dershowitz? Probably. And was that just a threat? Was that just to let him know what they could do? So San Rafael Ranch LLC purchased the Zorro Ranch in 2023, the one that's southeast of Santa Fe. And then we have so many more of the victims coming out of the woodwork. A lot of these victims were already paid settlements and signed NDAs, so they're not going to be able to come out again and talk about what had happened. Stacey Williams says that she was number 27 of 27 Trumpster Fire accusers. Beatrice Kuhl was another one. I'm going to look more into their stories. I think it was one of them that testified on October 24th of 2024. Or no, that was that the Sports Illustrated swimsuit model that came out October 24th, 2024, that was dating Epstein. Um anyway, let me just look over these notes really quickly. Okay, this is one more really stupid, well, a couple of stupid things. There's such an abundance of stupid things. I give up. I surrender. So yesterday, Trumpster Fire posted a video of President Obama getting brutally taken down by a couple of FBI agents with the theme song YMCA playing. So by doing the theme song YMCA, I hope he paid them for that, but he does whatever he wants. So no one else can use a clip from it, because if they do, it'll get taken down right away because that theme song. But talk about defamation of character. And like, that's a direct threat of violence against Obama, because they're not just arresting him, they're like tackling him in the Oval Office. It's artificial intelligence. But how many low IQ MAGA people are going to look at that and think that it's real? Probably a few. And so, yeah, that ridiculous thing that Donnie Two Dolls said about his ex-friend Little E on the tarmac the other day, that he was never a big factor in terms of life, when he was like, yeah, he's just not important. He was never a big factor in terms of life. And why do people care? So sordid and yet so boring. But I guess bad people care. So Stacey Williams was the Sports Illustrated model that was dating Little E, I think, that came out on October 24th of 2024 to tell her story. But in closing, I want to mention Miga, M-I-G-A. Have you heard of Miga? Kiki Ray, what's up? Yeah, there is too much to keep up with. I know. I hope Ghislaine talks more. But Dershowitz, man, he's such a dirtbag. He'll, and he's got Harvard behind him. He was, I think, a law professor there for like 30 years or something. So there's way too much respect for him because of his affiliation with Harvard. He is a piece of crap. Absolute disgusting piece of crap. Allegedly. Why are you so sorry Arizona didn't become a state until 1912? Get a grip. You sound delusional. Kiki Ray, what's up with you? Do you need a timeout, or are you just being goofy? What in the world? I guess I'll just give you a quick timeout because I haven't seen you in a long time, and I think I remember you kind of being like that. I'll give you a quick timeout. There we go. And then wrap it up. It's just a 1-minute timeout. You can handle it. But I might be signed off in a minute too. Yeah, weird that you come out of nowhere, Kiki Ray. I remember you. Since you are not Latino, you don't have a place to speak on it. So, Anna Bees, I think Kiki Ray was like a troll from the Kylie Rodney thing. So, no worries, my dear. Weirdo. Total weirdo. But yeah, see what the next thing is Kiki Ray says, because if it's something like that again, I'm just going to block ya. So, no thank you. Anyway, my dear Anna Bees, yes, I'm so sorry for the harassment on my channel. I will not tolerate it. You do not have the right to troll my favorite viewer. Thank you, Jess, for taking up for me. Of course, my dear. Nobody has the right to troll anyone on my channel, but especially Anna Bees. She's my favorite. Seriously. Not even kidding. Not that I have a favorite or anything, right? Okay. So one last thing. The MEGA. The MEGA. Have you heard of this crap? Just yesterday, with the ridiculous post of Obama getting his ass kicked by FBI to the YMCA music. Like, does Donnie not realize that the only people who like that song are the gay guys? Like, he's outing himself every time he plays that song. It says he's gay. Okay. MEGA is the Make Indians Great Again. So he is demanding that the Washington Cavaliers. I grew up in DC when I was little, before getting bounced back and forth across the country. And they were the Washington Redskins. And I loved that name. I loved their Indian mascot. I went to Miami University at Oxford, Ohio in 1985, who also had that same type of Indian mascot for their sports teams. And they were the Indians. Miami University was the Indians back then. But since then, all of those names have changed. So the Washington Redskins got changed to the Washington Cavaliers. Let me look and see what I want to say Miami University might be the Cardinals or something. Miami University school mascot in Oxford, Ohio. It's the Red Hawk. I was so close. Cardinal, they're red, they're birds. Okay. Anyway, so basically Trumpster Fire is just trying to like distract people with his bull crap. And so he literally said, MEGA, make Indians great again. He literally said MEGA. And so all the other teams, they all need to change their name back to their offensive names. BoobTube, how are you, my dear? I was just about to wrap up. Did you hear about this MEGA crap? OMG. OMG. So this person, Savannah Guthrie, on the Today Show interview from, was it 2016? Savannah Guthrie on the Today Show interviewed Epstein or Trump victim. So this was in 2020, where she sits down with 6 women. That's a different one. Jennifer Araoz, Araoz, shares with Savannah Guthrie her chilling account of the assault by billionaire Jeffrey. Maybe it's Jennifer Araoz. You know, the one that's been circulating a lot. I mentioned it at the end of yesterday's video. And yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and wrap it up here because we're getting on towards almost 2 hours, an hour and 45 minutes. But thanks for coming in, BoobTube. And let's see what Kiki Ray says. You don't know whether I'm Latino or not. You don't know anything about me or my lineage. No, but I know you're being a jack off. So let's see. There you go. Bye-bye. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. All right. Weirdo. But again, like, why is Kiki Ray wasting time in my chat? What is that about? Just to be a jerk? Just for fun? For shits and giggles? Let's all keep it cool and friendly. I know stuff can get healed sometimes. Just need to chill in chat. Yeah. Definitely. Kiki, you are the one being rude, and all of us Latinos were threatened by the current administration saying the alligators could have 65 million more meals. Right. I mean, because they are threatening everyone, even without any type of Latino or other nationality. Basically, anybody who disagrees with Donnie Two Dolls can get thrown into the alligator Alcatraz. So, yeah, it needs to stop. One of the things that is so crazy, because, yeah, Kiki Ray and people like Kiki Ray are free to say whatever the F they want, just not here in my chat. I will censor you out of my chat. You can go have fun with that somewhere else. But the censoring, the thing that Donnie Two Dolls says a lot lately, and Christy Nome said it in the last 24 hours too, and it's something I think we really need to look out for, is when they say these exact words to somebody, don't ever say that. Have you heard them say that? Don't ever say that. It's like, you can't control what people say. Freedom of speech. Kiki Ray can be as much of a pig as Kiki Ray wants to be, just not here and just not to Anna Bees. So, go have at it, Kiki Ray. Good luck with that. Have a good life. Like I said, don't let the door hit you on the way out. And let's see. Let's keep it cool, boob tube. Sometimes it's good to fight back though, because what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. I know. I used to just try to always just ignore the trolls and not worry about them. But then I realized, the trolls are a good opportunity to use as a jumping off point to make a point. It's a really good opportunity. So yeah. But also, I agree with you. Let's keep it cool. I love you guys. I hope you all have a great day. Yes. Love to you. I have heard them say that. Yeah, don't ever say that. Don't say that. People who think that they can control what other people think or what other people do, that's so sociopathic. Why would you even want to try to control other people? Aren't you too busy just trying to control yourself like a normal person? All right. I'm going to sign off. Love and light. Have a really good evening. Take care of yourself. Drink your water. Eat your veggies and your protein. I might not be able to do a live tomorrow because I have my orthodontist thing. I'm doing a consultation. I might get braces, you guys, because I have this big gap right here. You can see it. It keeps getting bigger. I can hide it, but it's not about the vanity. It's about it changing my bite and it getting worse as I age. So I don't know if they're talking, I'll know after tomorrow whether they're talking Invisalign or metal. I mean, I'll do whatever they say to do because, it's a medical thing. It's not a vanity thing. Kiki is an OG with Kylie. She did a lot. I just hate to see anyone fight like that. And I love you guys too. Well, I remember Kiki from Kylie, but I think Kiki is not really an OG. I think that Kiki is a troll from Kylie. In my opinion, boob tube. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Kiki can prove me wrong. I love to be wrong. Much love, Jazz and Anna Bees. Yes. Love and light, you guys. Have a wonderful evening and see you, if not tomorrow, the day after. Thanks for watching.